Thunderbirds are go. Like a cow. You can't hear that, can you?
Hear what?
Awesome. I put
This is going to be a nightmare to edit. We're both ill. Hello. It's that time of the
drawing board. Oh yes.
Welcome to hello, and welcome to Back to the Drawing.
Threw you off.
Nothing throws me off quite like you
so
being a.
much.
So,
Like me trying to do the intro.
hello, and welcome to Back to the Drawing Board, an architecture podcast hosted by me, Phil Wanter-Smith, an architect and director at PWS Architecture and Design, and this is my intern Theo.
Hello. Alright, just to get things started, this is Studio Theo. A lot of things went wrong in this episode. It's a bit shorter than usual. At one point my microphone goes off. At another point I just can't hear anything or see anything that Phil's saying or doing. So this one's a little bit janky, but we've managed to pull something together. So I hope you enjoy.
So today, it's that time of the year. So it's that time of the year, not Christmas, but it's the time of the year when Theo's going to be handing in 1,000 deadlines. I've got to meet 1,000 deadlines because I've got a 3-week month in December and a 3-week month in January. So, what's going to happen? Inevitably, an all-nighter.
All-nighter. It's hard to do that with a bit of a delay.
All night long. All night. So, this is going to be one of those wordy episodes, but it's full of tips and tricks on how to kind of deal with an all-nighter, the best ways I've found of doing them, and then also going to talk about how not to do an all-nighter, because the overarching tip in all of this is don't do one if you don't have to. And so find a way not to.
I've been trying that one out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been working on that one by just doing the work in advance, which so far is working well. I've got a week to get everything done, and I'd say I'm about 3/4 of 4/5 of the way through. A lot of what I've got to do now, I've got to finish one drawing, my beast of a model, which is massive, and then just format everything.
Hey, sounds like you're getting there. Then that's good, because yeah, I mean, the all-nighter is an essential part, I think, of just being an architecture student and being an architect. I know when I was like, I had friends that were doing other courses that were like, "Are you just crap at time management?" I was like, no, this is what everyone here does. This is how we live.
Actually, I'm really good.
Yeah, I'll have you know, I'm real good. But I mean, I've done
my course.
yeah, I mean, I've done 2 or 3 all-nighters since we moved here in August to try and like get back on top of my work schedule. But I mean, the major problem for me isn't time management. It's the fact that I'm a people pleaser and I want to take on every job that comes through the door so that I'm not turning people away and feeling bad about myself, which is a whole other problem. But yeah, so
That's another episode.
Yeah, so we'll start from the top, I guess. The first tip is make sure that you're doing your all-nighter in advance of your deadline. So if your deadline's on the Friday, try and get your all-nighter out on the Tuesday night, Wednesday night at the worst case. That way, you're going to have less people doing them all at the same time. And also it means if you balls up, you've got a couple of days to get things done during the day, rather than panicking, getting it all done through the night, and then first thing you do when you pin up is realise you've spelt your own name wrong at the bottom of all of your drawings. It's happened. I've seen it happen.
In fairness, you probably did that anyway, even when you were...
yeah, dyslexia helps.
Fine.
Helps big time.
Dyslexia and a weird name.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'll give you that.
In fairness, you're probably one of the only people who could get away with it.
Is that name spelt wrong? No, that's how you spell it. But you've spelt Smith wrong.
Where's the Q in Smith?
I genuinely did once put up a document, I uploaded it, and it said at the bottom, and I realised before I clicked send, it said Phil Wantner Sith, which I thought was quite nice. Turns out the M on my keyboard was sticky, but either way. So, yeah, the main thing is make sure you get it out of the way. But the other thing is start your all-nighter preparation a week before your all-nighter. So if you're doing the all-nighter on the Tuesday, you want to be prepping and starting this process Tuesday the week before. And on the first day, you want to start cutting your caffeine down. So on the day of your all-nighter, you want to get the most bang for your buck out of your caffeine, whether it's energy drinks, whether it's coffee, whether you're one of those weirdos that chews on caffeine tablets or chews on caffeine chews. Get your best bang for your buck by making sure that your tolerance is low as possible.
One of my friends gave me a caffeine tablet the other day, and it's beautiful thing.
Yeah, there was
because it was when we were up until like 2 doing this checkpoint submission, and she was like, "Do you want to try this?" I was like, "What is it?" It's just a caffeine tablet.
Oh, I should probably address the elephant in the room. I have moved my office downstairs into the main room. Your trunk's not that long, but so I have moved everything into the downstairs room to make sure that I'm getting more work done, because otherwise I was avoiding being in the office and working from the dining room table on a laptop. So, next thing you want to do is on the day of. So, well, actually, no, the day before. You want to make sure that you're sort of setting your sleep schedule a bit further back. So if you normally go to bed at 10, try to go to bed at midnight. Give yourself those couple of hours later so that you get tired later on in the day during your all-nighter. And then the day
Not
of...
a problem if you're a student.
Yeah. It's not a problem if you're an architecture student or architect in any form anyway, because I think sleep is just one of those myths in architecture, because I don't know anyone who does it unless they're a director.
What is
like
sleep?
Of a big practice anyway.
I was going to say Sleepy Phil.
So we move on to the big day itself, the day of the all-nighter.
Oh, this is going fast.
Well, no, because all the tips come from the day of, really.
That's
so
true.
you've cut your caffeine down, and you've sorted out how you're going to, screw up your sleep schedule completely. And so, what I like to do is make sure that I have my food ready. I'll usually food prep, like meal prep. It's not essential, but it helps, saves you time during the day. The other thing is making sure that you've been to the shops or you've had a shop delivery with all of your favourite snacky snacks and all of your favourite drinky drinks, so that you've got some little boost of serotonin
3-minute
during
noodles.
the misery. Delicious. No, don't eat any of them. Make sure that, I tend to eat. It sounds really weird, but I eat the cleanest during an all-nighter because I don't want anything that's going to make me feel lethargic, awful, or you don't want to end up with a takeaway and then spending your entire night thinking...
Head of lettuce.
Let's not be that extreme. I'm talking just don't order don't
vegetables.
That day is not the day to find out what the spiciest possible curry is from your local Indian takeaway. This is not that time, right? You need to be eating food that you trust and food that you know. You're not going to be sat there at 2 o'clock in the morning going, am I going to myself? Maybe, maybe not. You don't want to be doing that. Yeah, you don't want to feel lethargic and greasy and bloated and awful. You want to feel like a well-oiled machine, because otherwise your brain's going to be elsewhere. You're going to be thinking, can I trust this fart or not? So that's the first thing that you want to be doing is making sure that you've got good food.
That's what I think whenever you send me a message.
The other thing as well is avoid loads of sugar and avoid loads of caffeine during the day. So I'll cut my caffeine at 12 noon if I'm getting up at 7 or 8 in the morning, which is a lie-in for me. I'll cut mine at 12 noon and then I won't drink any again until about 10 o'clock at night. But avoid sugar, because you'll end up with a sugar crash, which will make you feel more tired. Now, you can have a power nap, right? But try and keep it to under 20 minutes, otherwise you enter REM sleep, and then you're just in a whole world of pain and misery because you'll wake up lethargic with a headache and blah. Stay hydrated during the day as well. Make sure you're drinking lots.
And during the night.
Yeah, because...
Didn't you have something about energy drinks? Not energy drinks, but pop,
yeah.
Lemonade,
so I'll drink
Coke, all that jazz.
So basically, from about 10 p.m. at night, that's when I'll start drinking caffeinated drinks, but also pop, So I always have Pepsi Max Cherry, Pepsi Max Raspberry, or Iron Brew Extra. Those are my 3 usual ones.
Not a sponsor.
Not a none of those are sponsors yet. Maybe.
Oh,
no.
don't freeze on me. There we go.
Oh my god! There's me about to lose the will to live. Cool. So let's go. On the day, don't work out. It's a stupid idea. Don't work out. You could be doing plenty of moving later, so don't go to the gym because you'll be knackered. On the morning of, make sure you've cleared your desk and cleared your mind. Write yourself your to-do list of everything that needs done. If you need to do 3 sections, 2 plans, and a model, get those on there. Make sure you've got notes all over your to-do list to say it needs to be this, it needs to be this, it needs to be at this scale, it needs to fill up this size page, whatever it takes. Make sure you've got that all written down. Hey! So, make sure you've done any...
I crossed 2 things off this morning, and then I had a think, and I was like, I need to add 2 other things to this list. Crap! So just nothing changed.
Yeah, well, there you go. Make sure that any routine maintenance you do on your computers is done. If you have a thing like clean my Mac or whatever, or clean my Windows computer, run them. Make sure that everything's optimal as best you can. I don't know if it really helps in terms of the actual processing power, but it makes me feel good. Make sure you have yourself a good breakfast. So I'll have like bacon, eggs, toast, sausage, porridge with like honey on it or maple syrup or something. Big breakfast. Make sure you feel good. Same at midday. Have yourself a good lunch. So at midday, I'll have a good lunch and I'll stop having caffeine, usually around 12, if you're going to have any caffeine. I'll have usually had 1 or 2 at that point, like rather than having 4 or 5, which is what I'd normally have had. And then the same applies again for dinner. Have yourself a good dinner and go for a nap around 7 p.m.-ish if you feel like you're going to need it. Again, keep that to like 20 minutes. Any more than that, you'll enter REM sleep and then you'll feel awful when you wake up. So avoid it if you can. I always avoid them. So now we're moving into the night. It's caffeine time! I'll usually leave them until the last possible minute to start drinking caffeine. So usually around 10 p.m.
Oh, something legendary they do here, because in Scotland they actually care about people's well-being, is in the student village reception area. During exam season, I need to go and stock up. They obviously it's Scotland. There's only one thing they'd hand out for free.
Iron brew!
Tons and tons. Iron
Deep
brew
fried Mars
energy.
bars.
Now, Iron Brew Energy, and there's absolutely loads of it. And you just go and just take a few cans. I think they do chocolate bars as well. Like these weird, you know how you get the caramel wafers, which like everyone in Scotland loves, but they do the non-branded versions instead of tonners, because it's probably cheaper that way.
Yeah, probably cheaper, but it's got to be good.
Literally just living off Iron Brew Energy. It's great. Don't use it as a mixer.
Really?
Right, so anyone Scottish would disagree with me. They'd say Iron Brew is the best mixer ever.
It is. It's a great mixer.
But Iron Brew Energy is just because it's got a bit of a weird taste on it, so it's strange.
Yeah, right. Well, so what I'll tend to drink instead of I'll have like Monsters and that, but I'll also tend
instead
to drink
of alcohol.
Types. I'll tend to drink like these are Rains, and they've Rain, whatever they call it, Rain Total Body Fuel, but it's got added vitamins and things in it, which I don't know. Again, don't think it actually makes that much of a difference, but mentally, this is a mental game. An all-nighter is a mental game, and you've got to play the game right. And so anything that makes you tell yourself that you've done a good job, do it. So Rain has aminos and all this B vitamin bollocks in it, which is going to make everything feel a little bit better. So that's what I tend to do. And I'll also prepare a big cold drink. I've got like a 2-litre vacuum insulated flask, which I'll just fill up with my Pepsi or whatever and fill it full of ice. I always flatten all of my fizzy drinks anyway. But sip it. Don't neck it, for f***'s sake. Don't just chug 2 litres of water, because then you'll be in deep, deep trouble. Treat them as treats. So I'll drink, obviously this Rain is peach fizz flavour. I've never tried that one before, actually. I just spotted it in Tesco the other day. But I'll buy like...
Breakfast bars must be good.
I don't know. I never really found them that interesting
like little,
to eat.
Little brunch bars.
Yeah,
but
keep
you
like
get the yogurt raisin ones, which are heavenly. Raisins.
I like a flapjack.
Yogurt raisin. With
I like a
this one
good
we found,
flapjack though.
It was like yogurt raisin with like little bits of like raspberry, and it was like right amount of tangy, and it's I want to find it again because it was delicious. My mum bought it like once.
Once only.
Yeah, I might put it on my Christmas list. I've got a depressing ass Christmas list. A lot of it's just like it's literally, you know what we did last week. It's basically, you know, everything that was on the no-nos, even the stationery. I've got highlighters on my Christmas list.
Oh, you'll have to drop it. You have to drop us your Christmas list so I can go through and get you some stuff.
Cereal. Oh, mate, the Windsor, the big pack of Windsor and Newton highlighters.
I don't like you that much, Jesus. Is there anything on there for like less than £1?
Yeah, a pack of nugget pillows from Lidl.
Sorted.
The cereal.
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in. I can't remember where we got to. What were we talking about? Well, we talked about like, drinks and that, didn't we? Like
drinks.
Your little serotonin kicks through the thing. So same applies to snacks. Make sure that you've got little snacks that you're fond of. I think you mentioned something about cereal bars. Good idea. Well done, Theo. Top points. I'll usually take like little things like M&Ms, or I'll have. Don't get a big plate of food because you'll eat the whole plate in one go. You want little things that you can pick at, or little individually wrapped things. So your breakfast bars again. Great idea. So what you want to do during your all-nighter is periodically get up and move. Stretch your hands, your neck, your arms, your shoulder, and your back, especially if you're sat at a desk like this. Yeah. And what's going to really help that is if you keep sipping your water through the night, because you'll need to get up to go for a pee. Every time you get up to go for a pee, have a 5-minute walk around, have a stretch, get some fresh air. So pop outside. The colder, the better. And just give yourself 5 minutes. Even if you have to set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes, just do that every time. Don't sit in front of a clock. I know computers all have clocks on them. The good thing about Macs is they're very small in the top corner where I'm never looking. But don't sit with a big clock behind you because you will just watch time tick away constantly. Put your phone away from you if you can. And if it's not essential as a part of working, leave it somewhere else so that you're not looking at it. Take your watch off, for the love of God. So, woosa. Got those ones out of the way.
All right, so that's time. Done.
Yeah.
Sorted.
So the next thing on my list, on my like kind of list of priorities, is music. So everyone, you can clearly see that I have expensive headphones, as does Theo, and it's because you need something. I usually start with like, it's usually heavy metal, but it's usually instrumental. I'll lean towards. I don't know why. I just found it works to spend less time concentrating on what people are screaming in my ears. So I'll listen to things like I Built the Sky, Pliny, Intervals. Tesseract have a really good instrumental bonus album, which is like the first couple of albums but with no lyrics. I love stuff like that, and it keeps your foot tapping, keeps your head bobbing, gives you a little mood boost, keeps you going.
One thing I quite like there as well is instead of as an alternative to music, like background TV. Studio Theo here. At this point I accidentally knocked the cable out of the back of my microphone, and neither of us realised, because we managed to set something else up so that we could work on my poor Wi-Fi. But yeah, I'm going to have to patch all the bits where Phil's talking together from here.
Recently, I've actually started listening to podcasts through the night. So one of the good ones I've listened to is Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. I find that one really interesting. So yeah, listen to some loud music. And kind of keep yourself active, keep yourself, tapping your foot, bobbing your head. Again, it's that active moving is going to help, because you are inevitably going to be sat at a desk, which is like a very boring, stagnant thing. I know obviously we probably talk a lot about like well-being and staying positive and everything. So watch the video we did on making your studio suck less. If you set that studio environment up where it's going to be nice and positive and you want to be there, you're not going to feel as down and as sad having to do the all-nighter in that space. So again, and it's the same thing with like the music and the treats and the snacks and the like not sugary drinks, but sweet drinks. They're going to like help to make you feel better, which it's going to help massively, because you don't want to spiral into that kind of madness and sadness of the fact that you're doing an all-nighter. And just keep a focus on your to-do list, and just every time you take one off, have yourself a little dance. So the main thing, like we say, the main take home of, because we're going to move into avoiding an all-nighter in a minute, but the main thing is try and stay positive, try and stay alert, try and stay moving, keep your serotonin levels high with your sweetened drinks and your snacky foods and keeping yourself happy. Don't panic. Don't try to mitigate that feeling of being under huge amounts of pressure, which you inevitably are. That's why you're doing the all-nighter, but just try and keep your mind off that particular subject and thought process and try and kind of stay positive. And these things will help to a degree as long as you do them. And then, like you say, keep an eye on that to-do list and just tick things off and take a little bit of solace in slowly working your way through that list. Here are some things to do to avoid your all-nighter. Actually, I'm going to go for a tinkle. Oh no, you're going to hear me going for a tinkle. So, to avoid doing an all-nighter, which is the best advice I can give you, you need to work on time management. And it starts with the same thing that your all-nighter started with, and a good to-do list. Making sure that you know what you've got to do, keep it concise, and say to yourself, right, these are the things as a minimum I have to do, so I'm just going to focus on those things. I've found like the little sticky note in the bottom corner on the Mac, when you click on that and it brings it up, I found that really good for that. That saved me so much heartache and time and effort, but I also keep a physical one. But, you know, I find that one helpful because I can access it on all of my devices. It doesn't matter if I'm at my desk or not. I can check what my to-do list is, no matter where I am in the house, no matter where I am in the world, at any time. Do tasks first is always like, unless there's a logical sequence in which you have to do them, do the really boring and mundane tasks first, because you'll be full of energy at the beginning of your week or whatever. Whenever you're doing this to-do list, you'll be full of energy, so do those then. Leave the exciting stuff till the end, because you'll be more engaged with them. And so I prefer a physical note to the digital one, but I'll always use both in conjunction with one another. But the other thing as well that I'm going to try and experiment with in the new year is having like a roll of paper that I can have on my desk, and I'll roll it up through the year. And then at the end of the year at Christmas, I can wrap people's presents in it. So everyone at the end of the year gets a present wrapped in recycled rolls of paper with all my notes on from the year. Well, I'm going to cross out names and numbers and everything that needs to be redacted, but just having a load of scribbles on that says, remind Theo to actually edit a podcast. The next one you'd weigh in on well, because this is probably one that really applies to you. Yeah, like actually kind of, well, I know you don't have one because you're an idiot, but having a routine helps when you actually do it. So the other thing with time management is having a routine and sticking to it, which would probably help someone who had some sort of, attention deficit disorder. But my routine's basically get up at the arse end of dawn to walk the dogs, then go to the gym, and then I'll be back at my desk for about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I try and split my days into make and manage, which I think it's Eric from, I'm not going to attempt your surname, Eric, if you ever watch this, but Eric from 30 by 40 Studio, he has a make and manage split where he does his making, which is all your design work, and then your manage, which is running the business. So I'll do all of my making during the day whilst Grayson's at school until about 3:15 when he gets back. But I usually work until about 4:30 and then make everyone dinner. So I make everyone's evening meal, and then crack on with the family until about 7 when Grayson goes to bed, walk and feed the dogs, and then do my management stuff from 8. If I've got enough time and I've finished all my management stuff before midnight when I usually go to bed, I'll crack on with some more design work. And I'll do that day in, day out during the week. Imagine your happiness level as a bucket of water with a hole in it, and the water level is your happiness level, and which is going to affect your ability to work. So the hole is the stress, which is pissing all the water and your happiness away. So eventually, if you're not careful, that bucket's going to hit the bottom. It'll get dry and you'll be burned out. So the closer you get to the bottom, like the less kind of effective you're going to be and less productive you're going to be. So try and keep that balance going and like raise and drop and pay attention to stuff like that to keep yourself going. You'll know when you're getting close to that point and just take a break. But try and schedule it in if you can, because that way you're not going to find yourself wanting to take a break on a Friday afternoon, but then you've got a massive deadline on the Friday afternoon as well. So schedule it all in, knowing what your schedule is, working on that time management. So to round it all out, here are my top 5 tips for all-nighters. Ready? Start a week or so in advance is number 1. Number 2, aim to do your all-nighter a few nights before the actual deadline. Number 3, weigh heavily on your well-being. 4, start your sleep and caffeine schedule in advance. And number 5, don't do an all-nighter. Manage your time instead. So it starts at £1 a month, moves its way to £3, then £5, then £10 if you really want to try and spend some of your own company's money, for example, or whatever. Apparently, I found out this week, if you are a chartered architect and as of 2024 an architect and you have to do CPD, apparently podcasts count as an informal CPD as long as you learn something. Who knew? So for £1, you can be known as a coffee runner, and you will get access to our longer, less edited videos from Theo. We'll also be using that as a platform to do Q&As, to do chats, to do, you can put in a subject. We'll start a Discord. We can get things rolling. Maybe even do some live streams if people want to send us in their CVs or want to send us any work. We might do episodes on critiquing work or critiquing CVs, which I think might be interesting for some people, particularly students. If you're looking at, graduating in the summer, you'll need to get ready to doing some CVs. So yeah, it supports us. It supports Theo because realistically, the poor boy's now earning nothing because he's now, except for getting paid for editing these, but he's at uni, so he's got no time to do actual work. So yeah, please support my intern Theo. I get to say it all the time. We'll see you next time when we return. Back to the drawing board.
All right, yeah, that was episode 7. Obviously, I didn't get to do my full outro, so here we go. Follow us on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. That'll be absolutely great. And stick around now for some bloopers. If you are watching on Patreon, then we've got a bit of an extended cut here and a few extra things that went wrong. So hope you enjoy.
Nope. What's happened? We lost connection.
Big freeze.
Oh, fair enough.
My guess is Phil's still talking.
He is, yeah.
I think it's only frozen on my end.
It is, yeah.
So this will look really weird in editing.
Yeah, this is going to be the blooper.
If he can still hear me, that will look even weirder.
I can still hear you, and it does look weird. Should I just carry on? Maybe?
I'll
just carry on.
If he can still hear me.
I'm not confused at all, mate. I know exactly what's happening.
But he can see me. Then it will be confusing, but he'll realise something's going on.
Interesting. So, what I'll do is I'll be meal prepping, and I'll be having a lot of my... I can't do this. I can't do it with you just being in the background.
So that's one way of